Here's the hard truth. The responsibility for dealing with toxic people doesn't lie with them. It lies with us. It's easy to point fingers and blame others for their behavior, but the real issue stems from how we allow them into our lives and how we respond to their actions. Toxic individuals thrive on cracks in our boundaries, feeding off the energy of our reactions and the space we give them in our lives. If they've managed to wreak havoc, it's often because we've unknowingly let them. But don't worry, this video isn't about making you feel guilty. It's about empowering you to take back control, set boundaries, and leave toxic individuals powerless. By the end of this video, you'll realize that your peace and happiness were always in your hands. In today's world, though, managing toxic people has become even more challenging. We're not just dealing with toxic coworkers, friends, or family. We're navigating a digital landscape full of social media drama, online trolls, and influencers who seem to thrive on stirring negativity. Modern distractions amplify these toxic influences, making it harder than ever to escape the noise. Notifications, endless scrolling, and viral arguments on platforms like Twitter or Instagram can all drain your mental and emotional energy. That's why Stoic philosophy, a practice that has endured for centuries, offers powerful tools to deal with these challenges. Stoicism teaches us how to control our emotions, master our responses, and focus on what truly matters. It reminds us that while we can't control others' actions, we have absolute control over our reactions. So if you're ready to break free from the chaos, let's dive into 8 brutally honest and practical ways to deal with toxic people while staying grounded, focused, and at peace. Let's get started. Let's start with the first point. Forgive, but don't forget. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood virtues. Many people see it as a sign of weakness or a way of excusing someone's harmful behavior. But true forgiveness isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. When you forgive, you're not condoning what they did or inviting them back into your life. You're choosing to release the resentment that ties you to the pain they cause. Forgiveness is less about them and more about reclaiming your peace. Think of forgiveness as decluttering your mind. Imagine a messy, disorganized room filled with items that no longer serve you. Resentments, anger, and the mental weight of betrayal. Clearing out that clutter gives you the space to breathe, think, and welcome peace back into your life. But here's the key. While you remove the junk, you still keep important lessons on a shelf, like treasured keepsakes. Those lessons serve as reminders of what you've endured and what you've learned, ensuring you don't make the same mistakes again. I learned this lesson through a painful betrayal by someone I trusted deeply. At first, I carried the resentment everywhere, reliving the pain every time their name came up. But I realized something crucial. Holding on to that anger wasn't punishing them. It was punishing me. By forgiving them, I freed myself from the toxic cycle of resentment. But here's the important part. I didn't forget. The betrayal left a scar, not as a mark of pain, but as a lesson. Forgetting invites the same pain back into your life, but remembering gives you the tools to protect yourself. Forgiveness is strength, not weakness. It's an act of courage to release your anger and wisdom, to hold on to the lessons. Forgive to move forward, but never forget to safeguard your future. Next, let's talk about limiting their access. Here's a reality check. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people, no matter how close they may be, can be toxic, draining, and disrespectful to your boundaries. It doesn't matter if they're family, lifelong friends, or coworkers. If they constantly bring negativity into your life, it's time to reevaluate their access to your energy and emotions. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary for your survival. Imagine your life as a bank account. Every person you interact with is either making deposits or withdrawals. Deposits come in the form of support, kindness, encouragement, and respect. People who fill your life with positivity and value. Withdrawals, on the other hand, are the constant complaints, manipulations, and dramas that leave you feeling emotionally overdrawn. If someone is making more withdrawals than deposits, it's time to limit their access. Your energy is a limited resource. Don't waste it on those who don't appreciate or reciprocate it. I used to be a chronic people pleaser, saying yes to everyone who demanded my time or attention. But over time, I realized that some relationships were draining me dry. One friend in particular only called when they needed to vent or complain. I'd spend hours listening to their problems, but they never had time to hear mine. One day I asked myself, what am I gaining from this relationship? The answer was clear: nothing. So I started setting boundaries. For instance, instead of diving into their endless negativity, I began redirecting conversations with subtle phrases like, "Wow, that sounds tough. What do you think you'll do about it?" This small change shifted the dynamic and helped me reclaim my energy. On the flip side, I made a conscious effort to invest in relationships with people who uplift me. I surrounded myself with those who celebrated my successes and supported me through challenges. These people made deposits into my emotional bank account, leaving me feeling recharged and valued. Remember, limiting access doesn't have to mean cutting people off entirely. It's about recognizing who belongs in your inner circle and who's better off in the outer rings of your life. Protecting your peace is your responsibility, and when you prioritize your well-being, you create space for the right people to enter your life. Sometimes the best way to handle toxic people is humor. Toxic people thrive on tension. They feed off conflict, drama, and emotional reactions, using them to manipulate or provoke others. The more you engage in their negativity, the more power you give them. But what happens when you refuse to take the bait? When you respond not with anger or defensiveness, but with humor? Suddenly, their attempts to drag you into their chaos fall flat. Humor, when used effectively, is one of the most powerful tools you have to disarm toxic individuals and protect your peace. I once had a coworker who loved to critique everything about everyone. Nothing was ever good enough for them. One day, they decided to call out my desk, saying, "Wow, your workspace looks like a tornado hit it. How do you even find anything in this mess?" Instead of taking offense, I smiled and replied, "You're absolutely right. I like to call it creative chaos. Even Einstein's desk was messy, so clearly I'm on the path to genius." The group laughed, and the co-worker's attempt to embarrass me completely backfired. They never brought up my desk again. Another time, a different co-worker criticized my love for spicy food, calling it unhealthy. I laughed and said, "At least my food has flavor. Your opinions, not so much." The room erupted in laughter, and the conversation shifted entirely. By refusing to get defensive, I kept the situation light while still creating a boundary. Humor works because it changes the energy of the interaction. Toxic people expect resistance or emotional reactions, but humor catches them off guard. It takes the power away from their words, making their negativity look ridiculous. The key, however, is to keep your humor light and clever, not sarcastic or cutting. The goal is to defuse the tension, not escalate it. Whether it's a passive-aggressive comment at a family dinner or an unwelcome critique at work, humor gives you control. It shows that you're unshakable, that their attempts to provoke you won't succeed. So the next time a toxic person tries to get under your skin, crack a joke, smile, and watch as their power over you fades away. Now let's move to a tougher point: knowing when to walk away. Walking away from toxic people is one of the hardest but most liberating decisions you'll ever make. It's not just about leaving a negative relationship. It's about reclaiming your peace, your time, and your energy. The truth is, staying connected to toxic individuals, whether it's out of guilt, loyalty, or fear of confrontation, only drains you. Choosing to walk away isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. Walking away doesn't always have to be dramatic or permanent. In fact, it often starts with subtle micro-walkaways. These are small, deliberate decisions to create distance that, over time, make a huge difference. For example, have you ever been stuck in a toxic group chat where negativity, gossip, or drama dominates every conversation? Leaving that group or muting notifications is a micro-walkaway. It's a quiet step toward prioritizing your mental clarity. Another example is unfollowing toxic accounts or individuals online. Social media can be a breeding ground for passive-aggressive comments, unnecessary comparisons, and endless drama. By unfollowing or muting people who drain your energy or trigger negative emotions, you create a healthier digital environment for yourself. These small actions don't have to come with an announcement. They're quiet acts of self-care that add up over time. I once had a friend who was consistently negative and dismissive of my aspirations. Their comments weren't malicious, but they left me feeling small and unsupported. Instead of cutting them off entirely, I started limiting our interactions. I responded to texts less frequently, avoided one-on-one plans, and stopped sharing my personal goals with them. Over time, I realized that I felt lighter and more focused without their negativity weighing me down. Walking away doesn't always mean cutting someone off completely. It can mean reducing contact, setting firmer boundaries, or choosing not to engage in certain conversations. It might even look like emotionally detaching from a relationship you can't fully leave, such as with a toxic family member. When you choose to walk away, whether in small steps or one bold decision, you reclaim your energy for the things and people that truly matter. Walking away isn't an act of anger, it's an act of love. Love for yourself, your well-being, and the life you deserve to live. Your environment shapes you in ways you may not even realize. Toxic people can weigh you down with their negativity, manipulation, and drama. But the good news is that the opposite is also true. Uplifting people can elevate you, encourage your growth, and provide a powerful counterbalance to toxicity. The people you surround yourself with are like mirrors, reflecting the energy and values you internalize. So ask yourself, are the people around you inspiring you to be your best self, or are they draining your potential? One of the most powerful ways to combat the influence of toxic individuals is to intentionally seek out uplifting people. These are the friends, colleagues, and loved ones who support your dreams, celebrate your successes, and encourage you to keep going, even on tough days. They don't just offer positivity, they remind you of your worth and help you build resilience against negativity. But uplifting influences don't always have to come from personal relationships. Enter the concept of mentors of positivity. These are the voices you choose to let into your life through podcasts, books, or online communities. For example, during a particularly difficult period in my life, I started listening to a podcast that focused on personal growth and resilience. The host's words were so encouraging and insightful that I began to internalize their positivity, even when I wasn't feeling particularly strong. Over time, consuming that content helped me develop a more positive outlook and greater confidence in my ability to handle toxic situations. Think of this as curating your emotional environment. Just like you choose healthy foods to fuel your body, choose uplifting people and content to fuel your mind. Join a supportive online group focused on shared interests. Read books by inspiring authors, or follow creators who promote growth and positivity. By intentionally surrounding yourself with these uplifting influences, you create a buffer against the negativity of toxic individuals. They remind you that kindness, encouragement, and genuine connection still exist. And once you experience that kind of support, you'll realize how much lighter and freer your life can feel without the weight of toxicity dragging you down. Here's another powerful strategy: refuse to engage in their games. Toxic people are like emotional puppeteers, constantly pulling strings to provoke, manipulate, or control you. They thrive on drama and chaos, drawing their energy from your reactions, whether it's anger, frustration, or defensiveness. The more you engage with their tactics, the more power you hand over to them. But what if you simply refuse to play their game? The key to dealing with toxic individuals is to stay calm, set boundaries, and deny them the reaction they crave. One effective technique for achieving this is called gray rocking. The idea is simple. When dealing with a toxic person, you make yourself as uninteresting and emotionally unresponsive as possible. Imagine being a dull, gray rock, neutral, non-reactive, and utterly boring. Toxic individuals feed on attention and emotion. When you deprive them of both, they lose interest in trying to manipulate you. Let me share an example. I once had a coworker who thrived on stirring up drama in the office. They would make passive-aggressive comments, spread gossip, and constantly try to provoke reactions. One day they cornered me with a snide remark about how I never contributed enough to group projects. Instead of defending myself or getting upset, I calmly replied, "Interesting," and returned to my work. I gave them no emotion, no argument, just a neutral, boring response. They quickly moved on, realizing they wouldn't get the rise out of me they wanted. Gray rocking works because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of reacting emotionally, which gives them power, You remain calm and detached, keeping control firmly in your hands. It sends a clear message. Their attempts to provoke you are futile. However, gray rocking doesn't mean being passive or tolerating abuse. It's a strategic way to neutralize toxic behavior without escalating the situation. By refusing to engage in their games, you protect your energy, maintain your composure, and deny them the satisfaction of control. In doing so, you rise above their negativity and reclaim your emotional freedom. Toxic people have an uncanny ability to derail your focus. They thrive on creating distractions, whether it's through unnecessary drama, constant criticism, or pulling you into their chaos. The truth is, the more you engage with their negativity, the further you drift from your goals and the life you're working to build. The antidote: stay anchored to your purpose. When you're clear on your goals and deeply connected to your why, the pull of toxic distractions becomes much weaker. One of the most effective ways to stay focused is to create a daily purpose reminder routine. This is a simple practice to reinforce your goals and keep them at the forefront of your mind. It could be as straightforward as writing down your priorities in a journal each morning, creating a vision board that inspires you, or repeating a personal mantra that resonates with your purpose. These reminders serve as mental guardrails, helping you stay on track even when toxic individuals try to steer you off course. For instance, I once worked with a colleague who thrived on gossip and drama. They'd spend hours dragging others into their negativity, creating unnecessary tension in the office. Early on, I found myself getting caught up in their distractions, which drained my energy and productivity. That's when I decided to implement a daily purpose reminder. Every morning, I wrote down 3 goals I wanted to accomplish that day and reminded myself why they mattered. This simple habit gave me clarity and helped me block out their noise. Over time, I noticed that their attempts to distract me became less effective. I was too focused on my own path to get pulled into theirs. Your purpose is your anchor. By staying connected to it, you naturally develop a stronger resistance to toxic influences. Toxic people may try to derail you, but when you're laser focused on your goals, their distractions lose their power. Remember, your time and energy are finite. By dedicating them to what truly matters, you're not only protecting your peace, you're building the life you deserve. So whether it's through a journal, a vision board, or a mantra, find your daily purpose reminder and let it guide you forward. Finally, avoid gossip. When dealing with toxic people, the temptation to vent or gossip about them can be strong. It's natural to want to share your frustrations, find validation, or even expose their behavior to others. But here's the truth. Gossiping about toxic people only keeps their negativity alive in your mind. Worse, it drags you down to their level, making you part of the very cycle you're trying to escape. Rising above their toxicity requires discipline, not only in how you deal with them, but also in how you process your emotions afterward. Gossip gives toxic people power by keeping them central to your thoughts and conversations. Instead of freeing yourself from their influence, you're feeding it. So how do you resist the urge to gossip while still addressing your feelings? The answer lies in channeling your frustration into productive outlets. One powerful alternative is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotions allows you to vent in a private, judgment-free space. It also helps you process the situation more clearly, turning raw frustration into valuable insights. For example, you might discover patterns in their behavior that you can prepare for in the future, or you might identify areas where you need to set stronger boundaries. Another option is to talk to a trusted mentor, coach, or therapist. Unlike gossiping, these conversations are solution-focused. A mentor can provide guidance on how to handle the situation, while a therapist can help you manage the emotional toll. Both approaches turn your frustration into growth, rather than more negativity. I've experienced this firsthand. In the past, when I gossiped about toxic colleagues, I realized I felt worse afterward, not better. But when I started journaling and seeking advice from a mentor, I found clarity and regained my sense of control. Rising above doesn't mean ignoring the harm toxic people cause. It means refusing to let their behavior dictate yours. Avoiding gossip is an act of self-respect, showing that you won't allow their negativity to infiltrate your character. Instead, channel your energy into healing, growing, and moving forward. When you refuse to give them free rent in your mind, You reclaim your power and rise far above their reach. Conclusion: reclaim your power and peace. Toxic people only have as much power over you as you allow them to. Their control isn't in their actions, but in how you respond to them. When you take back control over your energy and focus, their ability to influence your life diminishes. The strategies we've discussed, whether it's limiting their access, refusing to engage, or staying anchored to your purpose, aren't about changing toxic individuals. They're about empowering you to reclaim your peace, your time, and your energy. It's important to remember that dealing with toxic people is less about them and more about you. You can't control their behavior, but you can control your boundaries, your mindset, and how much space you give them in your life. Each step you take toward protecting your peace is a step toward living a healthier, happier life. Now here's the challenge. Over the next week, choose just one of these strategies and put it into practice. Maybe it's setting boundaries with someone who drains your energy, walking away from a toxic conversation, or starting a daily purpose reminder to keep you focused. Whatever you choose, commit to it and reflect on the changes it brings. How does it feel to reclaim your power? How much lighter is your emotional load when you stop giving toxic people control? Remember, real growth comes from action. Watching this video is a great start, but the real transformation happens when you apply these strategies to your life. Your peace and personal growth depend on the choices you make, not on the behavior of others. So take the first step today. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your life begins to change when you prioritize your well-being. You're stronger than you think, and your peace is worth fighting for. Let this be the moment you take control.